There are people who love you loudly, who make their love known through presence and declaration and the kind of devotion that fills every room it enters. And then there are people who love you in a completely different way, quietly, carefully, with a level of selflessness that most people never fully recognize until it is already gone. She was the second kind. And what she did when things became difficult was not what most people would have done. It was not what I expected. It was not what I asked for or wanted or was prepared to receive. She chose to disappear, not because she stopped loving me, but precisely because she had not. My name is Sheikh Hamdan, and understanding what she actually did when she left took me far longer than it should have, because I was looking at it as abandonment when it was the most complete act of love anyone has ever offered me. The situation had become complicated in the way that situations around my life tend to become complicated. There were pressures from directions I could not fully control. There were eyes on things that should have been private. There were people forming opinions and drawing conclusions and applying interpretations to something that belonged only to the two of us. And I was in the middle of all of it, trying to manage what could be managed and accepting what could not. She watched all of this from close proximity. She understood the full picture in the way that only someone truly inside the situation can understand it. And she saw something that I was either unable or unwilling to see clearly at the time. She saw that her presence in my life at that particular moment was becoming a weight I was carrying on top of everything else. Not because she was difficult, not because anything between us had broken, but because the world around us had made loving her something that cost me in ways she could see clearly, even when I refused to acknowledge them. She made a decision I did not ask her to make. She decided that disappearing was more loving than staying, that removing herself from the equation was the most honest thing she could offer someone she genuinely cared about. She did not tell me she was doing it for me. She did not frame it as sacrifice or present it in a way that would have required me to carry the guilt of it. She simply left, cleanly, without creating a story around the leaving that would have followed me. She protected me even in the way she chose to go. I did not understand it at the time. I received it as loss, as something taken rather than something given. And for a long time, I was angry in the quiet internal way of someone who cannot justify their anger, because the person they are angry at did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. She did something that required more love than most people are capable of. She looked at someone she cared for and asked herself not what she needed, but what he needed. And the answer she arrived at cost her everything she had been willing to stay for. The woman who chooses to disappear rather than be the reason you fall is not someone who loved you less. She is someone who loved you more than her own need to remain. And living with that knowledge is its own particular kind of weight, the kind that does not lift. It just becomes something you learn to carry with a little more grace each year.